at the beginning of an important event, and dance being the hidden language of the soul and an integral part of our culture, let us welcome Ulla Sahiti of Class 6 for a prayer dance to invoke God's blessing. That was indeed a wonderful
That
performance.
was very nice.
Yeah. Now, I invite our beloved principal, Ms. G. Mala, to deliver the welcome speech.
Thank you, Panaga. At the outset, let me extend my heartfelt greetings to each and every member of Delhi Public School Vijayawada family. A very good morning to all of you. I welcome you all on this pleasant morning. I would like to welcome our distinguished guests of the day, Dr. Isabel D. Santa Rita Vaz, author, playwright, and a former educator. Miss Anne McAllen, education consultant and adult programming coordinator, WCLS, and Miss Revati Suresh, children's and young adults author. Dean Sir, Mr. S.B. Rao, the directors, Mr. Pavanchand and Mr. Praveen, our beloved teachers of DPS Vijayawada, dear parents and students as our guests. So we are extremely pleased and honored to have you as our guests. The Department of English has been observing International Literacy Day every year as a tradition and highlighting the need to spread awareness on the pressing need of egalitarian approach to education. Every child deserves schooling. Delhi Public School Vijayawada has identified the need to promote literacy and therefore has undertaken several projects pertaining to capacity building in reading abilities. I congratulate the Department of English for continuing this tradition and taking it online. In line with the UNESCO theme, literacy teaching and learning in times of COVID-19 and beyond. This event, I'm sure, will touch upon various facets of education, and the talks by our guests will inspire teachers and as well as students to think beyond and differently. My dear students, this day is celebrated to promote human attention towards literacy and know their rights for social and human development. As the food is important to be alive and success, the literacy is also important. It is necessary tool to eradicate poverty, lowering child mortality, attaining gender equality, etc. Therefore, this day is celebrated to encourage the people towards getting continuous education and understanding their responsibility for the family, the society, and the country. So all the best, the department, and good wishes, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Today being the International Literacy Day, it is important for all of us to know the significance of celebrating it. We have a PowerPoint presentation by Dhrugu, a student of class 9, to share some light on the same.
September 8th of every year marks the international celebration and awareness campaign on literacy since 1966. Through literacy programs, UNESCO aims to promote literacy for all. In the wake of the COVID-19 crisis, literacy programs for youth and adults are affected, and so ILD 2020 focuses on the role of educators and changing pedagogies in teaching and learning in youth and adult education. As against the popular notion that literacy consists of only the abilities to read and write, literacy is a human right, a tool of personal and social development. Today, 1 in 5 adults in the world lack minimum literacy skills, with 2/3 of them being women. Literacy rate of India is at 71.2% with a world rank of 121 in adult literacy, which is way below the world average of 86% literacy. Literacy, the heart of basic education, is essential for eradicating poverty, achieving gender equality, ensuring peace and development in the world. The day highlights the importance of literacy to individuals, communities, and societies, calling for empowerment and development through education. The Department of English, Delhi Public School Vijayawada has been celebrating International Literacy Day for 8 years by conducting several competitions and programs to develop literacy skills of students. Join us in spreading education for empowerment. Happy International Literacy Day to all. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhrugu, for the presentation. It is my privilege to call upon Ms. Shanti Ramanujam, the head of the Department of English, a guiding light to many, to give an introduction to the International Literacy Day celebration.
Thank you, Panaga. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and a hearty welcome to the International Literacy Day celebration 2020. International Literacy Day is one of the flagship programs of the Department of English, Delhi Public School, and an important program on the school calendar itself. This is the 9th year of our celebrating ILD. Over these 8 years, we have focused on literacy and human rights, literacy and gender equality, literacy and democracy, media literacy, digital literacy, and literacy and multilingualism. This year, the thrust is on literacy, teaching and learning in the COVID-19 crisis and beyond, especially on the role of educators and changing pedagogies. Apart from the thematic varieties, the celebration of ILD includes competitions for students. This year, we held poetry writing competition for students of classes 11 and 12 and storytelling competition for the students of classes 3 to 5. Today, we'll have ILD messages from 3 distinguished professionals who are with us as guests to celebrate ILD 2020. We are honored to have them here. Our children are eager to listen to these distinguished guests and perform the roles given to them. And so, let's go ahead with the celebration proper. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We are honored to have 3 eminent guests to address us and to enrich today's program. I request Ms. Prakhya, Ms. Mihira, and Master Navneet, students of class 11, to introduce the guests to the audience.
Good morning, everyone. It is my privilege to be introducing one of our guests, Ms. Anne Macklin. Ms. Anne Macklin is an education consultant based at Bellingham, Washington area. She is also an adult programming coordinator at Whatcom County Library System and develops a sustainable program aimed at making library resources more accessible for non-English speaking and low-income residents in Whatcom County. She has traveled to many parts of the world, including India, while training teachers and has also worked on world education curriculum projects for migrant schools and refugee camps. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us today. We are very grateful to have your presence. Over to Mihira.
Hello, everyone. It is my pleasure to be introducing Dr. Isabel de Santa Rita Vaz. Dr. Isabel is a teacher, playwright, director, TEDx speaker, and founder of the Mustard Seed Art Company and Positive People, which is an NGO. She holds a PhD from Goa University and was a reader at Dempe College of Arts and Science. With over 65 theatre productions under the banner of the Mustard Seed Art Company, Dr. Vaz has written and directed a number of plays in English. She has primarily been an educator for more than 40 years now. Dr. Isabel often features as a speaker at the Goa Arts and Literature Festival. We welcome you to our program, ma'am. Over to you, Navneet.
Good morning to everyone. It is a pleasure to be introducing Ms. Revati Suresh on this occasion. Ms. Revati is an author. She writes for young adults. She has also written books for the UNICEF Karnataka government-sponsored Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan project for reluctant readers, as well as a commissioned biography. Her books mainly depict teenage, angst, and diverse realities. We heartily welcome you to this program, ma'am.
Thank you, Navneet, Raksha, and Mihra. I take this opportunity to invite today's esteemed guest, Ms. Anne McAllen, who is an adult programming coordinator at Whatcom County Library System and an education consultant, to address the audience. We are eagerly looking forward for your address, ma'am. Over to you, please.
Thank you, everyone. It's really great to be here. I only wish that I could actually be in India in person. And so even though COVID has interrupted our travels and our communications in that way, at least I can see you all on the screen. So thank you for inviting me to this great occasion. And it's so wonderful that the DPS does celebrate International Literacy Day. So right now I work for the Whatcom County Library System, but for many years I was an English teacher, and I was hired by the county library system to teach English originally because we're a very rural county, and transportation isn't great for people to get to the main town of Bellingham. So we set up programs at our library to promote literacy for kids, teens, and adults. So today my topic is to talk about library resources in terms of developing literacy fluency. But I think it's also important to think about COVID and the theme of this year's ILD, because it is teaching and learning in the COVID times has changed things. And I know for our library system, we've had to move online. And as we can all see from the Zoom participation, it's different. We're used to having programs in our libraries, and now we've had to move everything online. Our libraries and schools are all closed in Whatcom County and will be for the remainder of 2020. So briefly, I mean, traditionally, libraries have provided literacy fluency help in terms of providing a time and a place for people to go to, so they could go to their library and have a place of quiet, a place where they could read, and the time to do it. And in all the studies that we look at, a regular reading practice or habit is really important to developing fluency. So to try to make that a part of every day. And I know in our libraries, we used to have people come right after school, or there'd be morning story times for the children. And now we've tried to move that online. But I also think it's important for families to try to keep that role of libraries going and try to have a time and place in their home where their children and their teens can read, and at least have some time of each day to devote to the reading. I also was just reading a study how reading, at least for 6 minutes a day, helps to lower stress levels. So in these pandemic times, maybe that's another plus for making that a part of your daily habit. So another way that libraries have always promoted literacy is through the access. So libraries are free and anyone can come and use the materials there. So that was always a very important part of the more people have access to reading materials, the higher the chances that they will develop literacy. So I don't know in India, I'm assuming it's similar to where I live, is that a lot of people don't have access to computers and to the internet. So the digital divide in our rural county is becoming kind of an issue in terms of access. And the libraries and schools are trying to figure out how can we get computers and internet to a lot of the rural areas so that those students can still have access to books and to their school. And I've been reading a lot online about free virtual book rooms and how to set them up. And there's actually some programs, you can just click on free virtual book rooms, and it's like a virtual library, and you can even look at the books and read them. So that can be one way that we can try to get people to have access to libraries, even though maybe they're closed right now. Another way that libraries have promoted literacy is through choice. And when you go into a library, you can have the choice of if you want to go read a poetry book or biography or short stories or a graphic novel, magazine. So one key component to developing literacy is that people have the choice. I always like the quote that there is no such thing as a child who doesn't like to read. There's only children who haven't found the right book. So it's sort of like with learning styles, it's just finding what moves that student and what kind of material they're interested in reading. So I think there's a book for everyone, but just having the choice to pick and to have that diversity. And libraries have always been a source of that. And then the final way that libraries have always helped with literacy is to establish this community of reading. And we have a program here in our county where it's one read. And so everyone in the county once a year reads the same book and we talk about it. And so during the lead up to that book, it takes place for a whole year. We all have discussions, we have programs, and we try to foster this community of reading. And this year it will be an online program for the first time, but I'm hoping that we still have high participation. And so to try to make a community, if you can't do it digitally, then at least in your family to foster this community of reading. So the main ways that the libraries traditionally have focused on literacy and promoting it is through time and place, access, choice of materials, and community. And in this COVID time, I think that reading can be a real source of comfort and escape, and trying to choose materials that take our minds off some of the things that are going on right now. So I will leave you with a quote about literacy, that for everyone, everywhere, literacy is a basic human right, and literacy is the road to human progress and the means through which every man, woman, and child can realize his or her full potential. So thank you for inviting me to celebrate Literacy Day with you in India. And I hope next time I can actually be there in person, because I genuinely always have loved your country and enjoy going there. So thank you.
You will be welcomed, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Indeed, it was erudite and very inspiring to hear about how to use the library resource to educate. Thank you so much. Storytelling is an art. We have a little angel of our school. To make this morning bright and memorable for all of us, it's a beautiful and inspiring story narration. Miss Trisha of Class 2 has an interesting story awaiting for us. Miss Trisha, you're welcome.
Good morning. Let me tell you a story of a priest and two naughty boys. Once there was a village. There lived a priest who was well known for his predictions. All the villagers had a great respect for him. In the same village, there lived two naughty boys. They wanted to make fool of him. So they took a beautiful butterfly in their hands and went to the priest. The boy asked the priest, "Who sees? What is there in our hands?" Then the priest smiled at the boys and said, "Boys, it's a beautiful butterfly." Then the boys asked the priest, "Who said? Is it alive or dead?" Their idea was, if the priest said the butterfly is alive, they want to crush it. If the priest said the butterfly is dead, they want to flee and prove he was wrong. Then the priest smiled at the boys and said, "Boys, the butterfly is in your hands. You can do anything with it." Moral of the story is, our future is also in our hands. We can make it successful or destroy. Thank you.
Thank you, Trisha. Carolyn Haywood opines, children are not only innocent and curious, but also optimistic and joyful and essentially happy. We have Ms. Parvati K. Nambiar, a student of Class 1 with us, to present a beautiful rhyme on happiness. Ms. Parvati, over to you. Parvati? Yeah. Start, Parvati. Start, you're audible.
Hi everyone, my name is Parvati K. I'm studying first A1 in Delhi Public School. Today I'm going to recite the poem. I'm happy. Na na na, I'm so happy. Oh, so happy. Sing with me. Na na na, I'm so happy. Oh, so happy. Sing with me. Clap, clap, clap your hands. Clap, clap, clap your hands. Stomp, stomp, stomp your feet. Stomp, stomp, stomp your feet. Raise, raise, raise your hands. Dance everybody and sing with me. La, la, la. I'm so happy. Oh, so happy. Sing with me. Na, na, na. I'm so happy. Oh, so happy. Sing with me. Jump, jump, jump around. Jump, jump, jump around. Touch, touch, touch the sky. Touch, touch, touch the ground. Dance everybody and sing with me. La la la. I'm so happy. Oh, so happy. Sing with me. La la la. I'm so happy. Oh, so happy. Sing with me.
Thank you, Parvati. You sang very joyfully. It's my privilege to welcome our Honorable Dean, S.B. Rao, a scholar committed to education with the wealth of administrative experience back in Delhi Public School, Vijayawada. Please join me in welcoming the Dean to address the audience. Sir, we request you to say a few words on this august occasion.
Thank you. Well, distinguished guests of the day, teachers, parents, and my dear students, I really deem it as a privilege to share my thoughts on this day about the literature.
Sir, could you please put on the video, sir?
Video.
Yes, sir.
Is it needed video?
Yes,
Carry
sir.
on, please listen.
Yes,
Hello?
sir. You're visible, sir. Please, please, sir.
Okay. Literacy simply means the common parlance, common language. It means ability to read and write. It's just ability to read and write. Literacy to become a literature in whichever language it is, it has to produce, to become a sort of a piece of writing that are valued in terms of novels, plays, poetry, etc. So literacy to become a literature, these things are very essential. In fact, what I feel, every country, every society, every ethnic group has got a language. Or in other terms, call it a literacy. So it should not stop just at that stage. To reach to the status of a literature, as I said, they should encourage to create some works of art in the form of, as I said, good novels. Of course, I should not use an adjective good novels, poetry, etc. Here, I would like to emphasize upon there is nothing like good literature or a bad literature. Literature is a literature. Well, I would not deal much on the literature. Now, our this occasion is literacy. As you all know, in the year 1966, on this day, September 8th, was declared as the International Literacy Day by UNESCO. Since then, this has been celebrated in many countries. And we are also doing it as a part of it. We from the DPS Vijayawada. Every year, the UNESCO also gives a theme for the International Literacy Day. A theme. The theme for this year's function is International Literacy Day is revolved teaching and learning revolved around this COVID-19. My students, as you all know, this has played a very destructive role and throughout the country, throughout the world. Well, it has taught us something good and vastly the bad things, the destructive things. The good things, what I feel is, it has treated everybody equally. It did not differentiate between a rich country and a poor country, or that community or this community. So in its eyes, everybody was treated equally. And it's a destructive part, as you all know. Day by day, the positive cases are increasing, and the mortality rate also simultaneously going exponentially. However, well, I feel it is all the ways of the Almighty, the nature. Nature plays its own role in certain times. What I observed here is, we shall all have to learn to live with it, maybe for some more time. Coming to the point, today's function, this Literacy Day, as I said, the theme is teaching and learning on the premises, on the prism, rather, of this COVID-19. And learning and teaching is a lifelong process. Especially at this juncture, the learning and teaching under this present situation, circumstances of COVID-19, mainly meant for this youth and the adults too. So literacy, again, is just a word going beyond the literacy to a literature. Every being, it is not just we have a shelter, we have something to eat, and thereby we get satisfied. No. There is something inner being of every individual. It requires, rather it needs, it craves for something beyond. And that could be fulfilled only by literature. And as you might have seen time and again, in every country you find a beautiful literature festivals. Apart from this International Literacy Day, there are so many literature festivals are conducted throughout the world, and especially in our country, in a place like Jaipur, Bangalore, very good festivals. Those are also international literacy festivals are being conducted. And as and when the time permits and we get an opportunity, we should try to attend this type of festivals and see the importance of literacy and thereby literature. So as I said, there's nothing like good literature, bad literature. Whatever we lay our hands upon, the first speaker, the madam, wonderfully she extolled the role of library in increasing the literacy. So my dear students, try to read as much. Go outside your textbooks. Reading doesn't mean simply reading your textbooks. That is preparation for your examinations. I always also used to say, just being literate and being educated, these two are different. Literature and literacy is not end in itself. It is a means for education. Education in a true sense. Many a times, we say, I have got that degree, this degree, I am qualified for that job, this job. But when we think of values, certain human values, for that you need the real education. And for the real education, as I said, this literature is a means. It's a means to achieve that kind of education. So, my dear students, I'm very happy. The English department every year, though I have been out of school for 2 years, because I had to go to United States and all that, but I was all the time keeping track of the programs that were conducted in this institution. So every year, this English department taking ample care in celebrating this International Literacy Day. This language, especially English language, Chaucer, if you have heard about a great authority, a great author from England, he has given the status of literature to the English language from London. So, my dear students, I'm again reiterating, read as much as possible and also contribute your might in further propagating this literacy among the some little deprived community. Everywhere you have this community. So once in a while, if you could make it a point to visit those colonies and try to improve this literacy among those unfortunate kids, is a great thing. God bless you. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Are you all looking for something creative, something humorous, which tickles your imagination? Now we have students of class 6, 7, and 8 awaiting to present a skit. The title of the skit is Time Travel. The skit is written, directed, and produced by Miss Akhila and Miss Pannaga, the members of the Department of English. Watch and enjoy.
Hi Shashank. Hi Sanjana. I am Sanjana of class 6A5. Morning everyone, my name is Shashank of class 6A5. Poetry has various colors to our life. When all the colors are blended up, they give a bright light as white as a paper. A plain white paper is the soul of every poet, which is filled with the ink of their heart. We have a most illustrious playwright and for one of the most English language. William Shakespeare wrote this into evocative line comes from the road not taken by robot rocks. An enormous demand or any doctor drink. This line is a favorite with journalists and the Times of Nations that crisis. This comes from the rhyme of the ancient mariner by Samuel Taylor Coleridge, a very long ballad told from the point of view of a sailor who had just risen from an epic voyage. Celebration of water, Lights of Autumn. This line opens to for your walk. The poet took near Winchester on autumnal evening in 1819. I wandered lonely as a cloud. William Wordsworth's most famous poem, known by the title Daffodils, which gives you all the clues you need about the subject of this poem. Wow! These famous lines are from the famous poet from their famous poems. Now let us see what happens when our famous poets meet the current day poet. Mother poet was sitting saddened in the garden. After many years of their contribution to English literature, she wanted to know the status of English on earth. Then three among her favorite children came to her. They are namely Shakespeare, William Wordsworth, and Milton.
What has happened to thee? What is bothering thee?
Dear children, it's been quite a long time. Why don't they visit Earth to know if English language still exists? Has it been replaced?
Do be pensive, my mother. My brothers and I will listen to thee about the work to learn for you. Rest assured, mother.
But mine own brothers, from without outbreath has to start. Methinketh our world must have changed a lot.
To begin, what we need is not the will to believe, but the wish to find out.
Worry not, mine own brothers. I know it from whither wealth we needed to begin with.
Adieu, my children. I'll be waiting for thy return. Do not forget to carry a mask and a bottlet of handed sanitizer. Corona spread wide thither.
As they say, mother. On the stage, and all the men and women are merely players. Let us watch the play all over again. Brother, don't be so paranoid. I heard that the Department of English, Delhi Public School Vijayawada, is celebrating Literacy Day in their school. Let's watch the play, all its acts and scenes.
The Asian poets are quite satisfied with the children of present era. They then visited several places around the globe.
When I behold, come forth into the light of things.
It looks quite illuminated. That's USA. I wonder what the program is. Let us go to the International Convention of Poetry there.
Oh, here comes another poet. Look how meditative he seems.
He looks rather sleepy to me.
Hello. It's my pleasure to present my most popular poem. When he's a little chap, we call him Nap. When he somewhat grows older, we call him Doze. When his age by hours we number, we call him Slumber. Was indeed thoughts of her somnolence in her somnambulism.
Here comes the picture behind the woman.
I am Tia Parker, and I write concrete poems. Starlight, star bright, star shining in the dark of night, over a cavern deep and dark. Inside the cave, a baby is born. Who shall die on the cross? But do do not mourn, for he's the one to save our race. For we have fallen from grace. 3 kings and 3 shepherds have come by your light through this cold, dark, and wintry night.
Is that a poem?
Why shall all mankind be condemned for one moment's fault? Wait, there comes another one.
My next contribution. Red, sweet as honey, bitter as blood. Orange, fluttery as fall, still as a stone. Yellow, loud as a trumpet, soft as a petal. Green, rough as a pin cone, smooth as a lake. Blue, my color, just like the sky. Indigo, bright as the moon, dark as night. Purple, weak as a flower, strong as a courage. This is my rainbow poem.
I'm speechless. I like the rainbow.
My heart leaps up when I behold the rainbow in the sky. So was it when my life began. So is it now I am a man.
Behold, there finally comes another man.
I am Akil Katyal, and I am here to put forth my innermost feelings about dealing with grief. Grief is the least biodegradable of objects. Do not bury it. Stash it between your fingers, and in inconsolable hours, let it run. There'll be nights when you'll see even steel dissolve under your touch.
What? Did you understand that?
Poetry is the first and last of all knowledge. It is as immortal as the heart of a man. I am so happy that poetry prevails.
Thou this be madness, yet there is method in it. There's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so.
Time to leave. Mother doll, be worried.
What habit made you stay out on earth for that long, my children?
Grief is the last of all biodegradable objects. We are fine, don't worry about us.
What do you mean by that, my child?
Poetry is not as it was. It is as puzzling as it can be, but humans elevate it on earth.
Thank you, my child. I am relieved. Now I can rest peacefully.
Good night, sweet mother, and flights of angels sing thee to thy rest.
That was interesting, wasn't it? We are honored by the presence of Dr. Isabel Voss, a playwright, author, and educator with us. I invite you, Dr. Voss, to address the audience and enrich us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My greetings to the director, Mr. Praveen, the dean, Mr. Rao, the principal, Ms. Mala, teacher Leena, all the other teachers and students. I must say that I feel really privileged and happy to connect with you. And in a sense, I think it is the COVID pandemic that has put us in touch. So sometimes we need to be grateful even for what is not very positive, at least at first glance. The topic that I'm supposed to speak about is significance of the arts in education. And my dear students, we are celebrating Literacy Day. Maybe we need to just remember for a few seconds that we are extremely privileged to be able to read and write when there are so many around the world. Yes, it is their right to be literate, but they haven't had the opportunity. And you and I have had this opportunity. So we are grateful, aren't we? Significance of the arts in education. I would like all the students to ask themselves at this point of time, Am I an artist? And maybe you will say, I don't know. I don't think so. Sometimes when you are very young, you don't know for sure whether you are an artist or not. Some of the participants quoted from Robert Frost. Robert Frost wasn't a poet to begin with. He did a lot of farming in a farm that had been left to him by his uncle. And it was only late in life that he became a poet. What about our own Rabindranath Tagore? He was many things before he became a poet, a songwriter, a playwright. So the arts sometimes reveal themselves to you a little later in life. And so I would say, don't ask, why should I waste my time in the arts if I don't know for sure? It is a good idea to make a little room for the arts in your life. Why? I will give you a few reasons. One is because you never know unless you try. Unless you have some exposure to the arts, you don't know whether you like them or not. Unless you paint, how will you know whether you enjoy painting? Unless you sit and write a little poem, you don't know whether you're a poet. Today I saw little ones dancing. They know that they are dancers. They know that they enjoy dance because they have got involved with the art that we call dancing. Unless you sit at home and sing, or maybe you write a song and compose the music for it, you don't know that you are a songwriter. So, one reason why you should make a little space in your life for the arts is that you really don't know. You may discover something wonderful as you go along. Secondly, the arts are very good in our lives because they are great fun. Believe you me, you feel alive when you're painting. You feel extremely alive, full of energy when you're singing, when you're dancing, when you pick up a pen to write something. There's something in your heart that says, hey, this is good. This is what I was born for. And some of you will say, will there be a profession for me in the arts? Will there be a career? I don't know, frankly. Maybe there will be. But there is much more that the arts have to offer you. Even though it may not be a full-fledged career or a profession, the arts make you rich. Personally, I must tell you, I was a very shy student, both in school and in college. And then something came into my life that added a new dimension to it, and that is theater. What has theater brought to me? I'll say that a little later, but at this point of time, what do the arts bring to us all? 1, self-realization, self-discovery. 2, an opportunity to question. 3, a means to communicate. And 4, social enrichment. Self-realization. I write. I'm sure many of you write as well. I'm sure many of the people you know do a whole lot of artistic endeavors. Are they all paid for it? Is there always a lot of money in it? No, there isn't. Sometimes there may be, but what there is a sense of rightness, hey, I'm happy that I'm here because this is it. I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to do this. I feel so good. And this sense of discovery and self-realization, believe you me, it is priceless. Also, believe me, if you are in the arts, you have a chance to question. To question what is happening around you, the narratives of the world. You might say, oh, if I sing, if I dance, can I question? Yes, you can. Your song, for instance, the theme of your song can touch the world. It can touch many hearts. Surely you have heard of Bob Dylan's song, Blowing in the Wind. It is just a song. But no, it isn't. It is a song about civil rights. It is a song that enriched the anti-war movements. And when you listen to it, you will find that it is a theme that you can relate to. Against war, who cannot relate to that? And so, just a songwriter, but very soon, in the year 2016, Bob Dylan was given the Nobel Prize for Literature. How does that seem to you? Songwriter, Nobel Prize for Literature, good fun, huh? Yeah. Also, it gives us a chance to communicate. You will say, communicate what? I communicate with my parents all the time. I communicate with my friends all the time. They tell me to shut up. I communicate too much. Oh, yes. But I'm talking about communicating with the wider world. In India, for instance, we have a number of playwrights. One of them is somebody I admire a great deal, somebody called Mahashweta Devi from Bengal. She was a teacher of English as well. Your department can connect with this personality so well. She has passed away, but her short stories are alive. And she turned those short stories into plays because then she said a whole lot of more people will watch my plays and will know what I am trying to communicate. And what did she communicate? Something that was extremely important in her own mind and heart. And she said that independence in India hadn't really brought many advantages to the lives of the tribals that she communicated with. And she was conscientizing the world about this. Think for a moment. A little later in your life, when you have something that is very important to you, if you are an artist, you will be able to tell the world what it is that matters to you. And you will be able to speak as well as to listen to what other people have to say to you. And I would say the arts give us a chance to enrich society. The early years of our life, maybe we try to satisfy physical needs, then some ego needs. I want to do better than this one. I want to do better than that one. I want success. Good, not bad. There's something beyond that, greater than that. And that is what we call the contributory level of our life. A point will come when you'll ask yourself, how can I make this world a little richer? What can I give to it? What can I contribute to society? And the arts enable you to do that. Of course, the sciences do as well. Every discipline does it. But because I am part of the arts, I'll speak about the arts. And that brings me to the art that I particularly like and that I have one foot into, and that is theater. Already I have watched today your classmates presenting a small play. So what does theater give us? As we learn to perform, we pick up a whole lot of things. One is efficiency in communication, use of body language, use of voice. If I talk like this and I mumble and I am half dead when I speak, you won't pay attention. Theater tells me project your voice, make contact with your listener. Theater does that, and it's fun. It also helps you to understand different characters. You don't play yourself in a play, you play other characters. You begin to empathize, you begin to learn how other people feel, how other people think. It gives you stage presence. You become a little less nervous when you face an audience, and that will help you wherever you are, whether you attend an interview or you are in some profession of communication or wherever else. And what I particularly value most is that theater gives you an idea of teamwork. It teaches you the collaborative approach. That means I don't want to be better than anybody else. We are all together for a common goal. We are collaborating. We are a team. And the line that I quote and I like very much, and I try to live by, is this particular line from a poem. And it says, each one of us is an angel with only one wing. It is only embracing one another that we can fly. And we are all born to fly, friends. We are born to achieve the very best that is within us. And I think you will agree with me that when we fly wingtip to wingtip, what fun that is. And that we can really fly high. And as I wind up, I would like to end again with a quote from a famous artist. She was a dancer. Her name is Martha Graham. And she says, there is a vitality, a life force, an energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all of time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium and will be lost. As I say thank you, I am very confident that all the students will give the arts a chance. COVID times are good times because they give us time to think. They give us a lot of space to be creative, even though sometimes we are confined within the walls of our own homes. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your precious thoughts with us and for motivating the students to discover the skills and talents by trying different forms of art and enlive in their lives. Thank you so much. A reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies. A man who never reads lives only one. The month September is considered Read a Book Month. On the occasion of International Literacy Day, the Department of English introduces the program to read a new book every month for students of class 4 to 7 to encourage reading habit. The book selected for reading in the month of September is Wonders by R.J. Palacio. I call upon Ms. Prisha Jain of class 7 to read a paragraph from the book to mark the beginning of the program.
I know I'm not an ordinary 10-year-old kid. I mean, sure, I do ordinary things. I eat ice cream, I ride my bike, I play ball, I have an Xbox. Stuff like that makes me ordinary. I guess. And I feel ordinary inside. But I know ordinary kids don't make other ordinary kids run away screaming in playgrounds. I know ordinary kids don't get stared at wherever they go. If I found a magic lamp and I could have one wish, I wish that I had a normal face that no one ever noticed at all. I would wish that I could walk down the street without people seeing me and then doing that look away thing. Here's what I think. The only reason I'm not ordinary is that no one else sees me that way. Thank you.
Thank you, Prisha. Ms. Revati Suresh, our distinguished guest speaker, is the author of the popular novel Jobless, Clueless, Reckless, and a children's author too. I invite you, ma'am, to please share your thoughts with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, speak at this event. It's been so lovely listening to Isabel and before that, and watching the children be creative. It must be so hard for them to be away and just, still be able to modify whatever they would normally do on stage to do that from home and present it like this. And it must be so lovely, so moving. I was listening earlier to what Ms. Isabel was saying, and so much of it struck a chord with me about art and about the fact that you don't really know what you are meant to do and you come to it slowly. And I came to my own writing very slowly and very tentatively and without any plan or any direction almost. And so I kind of completely agree with, the way that she talked about, or I can kind of relate with how she came into her own art. So I will be talking about reading and writing about diverse realities. And it's only earlier when, the student who introduced me talked about the writing I'd done for the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, movement which happened in Karnataka. So this was a program that was done in collaboration with the UNICEF and the Karnataka government. And we were trying to reach readers in rural Karnataka. And we were told, writers who were sitting in an air-conditioned office in Bombay with no idea of what those lives were like, lives of those children were like, we were given very, very brief instructions on the kind of stories we were supposed to write, on the circumstances of those children, and to try and make stories that would be real to those children. And it was such a strange challenge because you were sitting here with no idea of how those lives were really lived on a day-to-day basis. But we had to make those stories so real to them that they would feel like those stories were written by them, about them. So that was one kind of reality where we had to imagine a reality that we had never been part of. But we did those stories. There was a team of writers and we did write those stories, and they were apparently really, really popular with the children in districts in rural Karnataka. So that was a wonderful experience. And then there was this other experience I had of writing my 2 novels more recently. One was Jobless, of course, in 2013, which the students, some of them may be aware of. And the sequel to that, In Now and Then, which was published a month ago. And that was a reality that was known to me, but I came to it again gradually, not by living that reality myself, except as an outsider, because I'm not a teenager, obviously. But I could see the students, the young people around me at that time, including my own children, and the way their lives were being lived out, and it was so different from what I had experienced as a young person. And somehow teenage life seems to have evolved in a very global way, where what they were watching, what they were reading, all of that was impacting their lives, and kind of almost universalizing the teenage experience. So it is that reality that I watched and that I had not read anywhere in the same way that made me write that book. I didn't know at that time how my writing of that book would impact the reader. And it was only later, I was writing about teenage life, and I said, oh, teenagers are probably going to read this book and they are going to say, okay, some of this strikes a chord with my life. But I did not think that it would actually have a wider audience than what it was intended for adults. And by adults, I don't just mean people in the younger adult age, but teachers, parents, and sometimes even elderly people, grandparents who picked up and read the book and found that it struck a chord with them. And that was kind of a surprise for me, because clearly many readers were picking up things from the book, aspects of the book that I myself had not realized I had put into the book in a way that made it possible for people across age groups to be able to see some reality in it. So that was one part of it. So I'm going to briefly kind of talk about how one puts reality in fiction. So what is it that makes reality for us? What is this reality? It seems like such an abstract term, and it just seems like a word, but what is it that makes reality for us? So our experiences of reality come from the people around us, the places that we live in, and the emotions that we feel. That's such an important part of reality, emotions. It connects a lot of us in ways that sometimes places and people can't. And the language we speak, and by language I don't mean the language of day-to-day communication, but the language of particular groups of people. For example, in Jobless, you see teenagers talking in a very teenage way. So how that makes up an experience of a certain kind of reality. And then there are things that we see and absorb in the world around us, which we don't even fully realize that we are absorbing, and which become a part of our lived experiences without us even sometimes being able to give voice or expression to it. So now in fiction, reality would get, I'm just going to divide it into three broad categories. Reality probably gets reflected in settings. For example, the setting could be a city, or it could be, in a very broad way, it could be settings in countries, it could be in continents, it could be a city, it could be very specifically in a locality close to you. Or in this case, since we are living in the time of a pandemic and we are not really able to step out of our houses, the four walls around you become your setting. And what does setting do for you? You notice probably that when you step outside, when you are on the street, you are noticing several things without even being aware that you're noticing them, and you are absorbing sights, sounds, smells, people walking past. It's almost like a time-lapse video, what's happening to you when you're outside on the street. There's so much to take in. And so you have a zoom out effect. The same thing when you are inside a space, like inside your own house, that tends to condense, and you have a zoom in effect where you are turned more inward and you're more with your thoughts. The space is very familiar to you, so you're not busy noticing the things around you, and it gives you the space to be inside your thoughts and to be able to examine what's going on inside your head. So setting is one situation where you can bring reality into fiction. The second way is of course, people, the characters, the people you know, your parents, your siblings, your peers. These are the people who make up the second part of your setting, where you know them, you talk to them, you can almost predict their behavior. You know how to negotiate your way around them. So what tends to happen, especially when you're writing, is that you start working with a broad kind of a framework of stereotypes. Now, stereotype is not a very light word in writing or in watching a film. You can dismiss it and say, oh, that's a stereotype. That just seems like a cliche. And so but as a writer, it helps when you start working with a broad stereotype where you have kind of like a square and you're painting within it. And then you start giving small quirks to the characters that you're writing about based on what you know specifically about the character. So if, for example, you were to write about your friend, you can describe your friend in the way that the person looks, in the way that the person behaves in a very broad way, and then start narrowing down with little quirks about what makes that person that particular person. So that is the second way of bringing reality, by making a person real in terms of the way that you relate with them or they relate with you. So you have place or setting, and then you have character. The third thing is also probably for me in some ways a very significant one, which is emotion. Ultimately, the things that draw us into experiences are what we feel when we are going through situations in life. I think this time of the pandemic, for example, we have felt, I think many of us feel strong emotions. There is a feeling of uncertainty, there is a feeling of fear, there is a feeling of impatience. You want to go out and make things normal again. But you also have this whole thing of an altered reality where you're told that stepping outside the house may not be very safe for you if you do not take adequate protection. So all of these three aspects together are what broadly kind of feature in bringing reality into fiction. I don't want to elaborate too much on this at this point in time, because I know that the students listening out there are from a very large age group. So I will leave it here and just allow you all to think a little bit about what it is to experience your reality. What I can write about is my reality. So what is it to experience your reality, and how can you bring your reality into anything that you write? Because that is what the individual things that you notice about the world around you is what is going to give your writing the quality that it's every time you write, you're signing it, you see. What you write, only you can write. Okay, many writers can express the same thing, but you will find that they express the same thing in different ways. We're all not copying each other and writing the same thing. We may be saying the same thing, but we are writing it in different ways. And the reason that is happening is because we are experiencing our reality in different ways. So if you can just think a little bit about that, about how you experience reality and how you can bring out your reality in your writing, that would be a great place for you to actually start and get into this process of finding out if writing is something meant for you. I think I would like to conclude with this. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your experiences as an author and for motivating the budding writers among the audience. Story enactment is the real way to teach the children. Just this fun activity can render a deep impact on the minds of the children and enable them to showcase their talent. We have Ravi Varnika, Punarvi, and Hasanti of class 5 presenting a story enactment.
Good morning, teachers and friends. My name is Varnika from class 5 and 6, and today we are going to narrate a story. I will be playing the role Appa. My friends Punarvi will be playing the role Akku, and Hasanti will be the narrator.
When the last school bell rang, all the children laughed and screamed with joy, all except Akku. Akku was angry.
Akku, look at all the pretty sunflowers,
said Appa as they rode through a field.
They're too yellow. They're making my eyes hurt.
Akku, look at all the monkeys,
said Appa, pointing at the roof of their house.
Gee, shoo, go away, shoo.
Here, drink some buttermilk. It'll cool you down.
I don't want any.
Try a sip at least.
Okay, fine,
said Akku and tried a sip. It wasn't all that bad. She had another sip and another. In no time, the glass was empty.
Would you like a vada? Just one little bite.
Okay, fine,
said Akku and tried a sip and tried a bite. It was quite good. She had another and another. In no time, the plate was empty.
Good girl. Now, will you tell me why you are so angry?
No.
Is it something I did?
No.
Is it something Amma did?
No.
Did something bad happen in school today?
Maybe.
Uh-oh. Would you like to draw it? Here's some nice sheet of paper and some crayons.
Okay, fine,
said Akku and started drawing. Akku drew a brick.
This is the stupid brick I tripped over this morning.
You're right. It is a very stupid brick.
Akku drew a boy.
This is Bikku, a very bad boy. He laughed at me when I fell down.
You're right. He shouldn't have not laughed at you.
Akku drew an idli.
This is my idli. It fell out of my lunchbox when I tripped.
Uh-oh.
Akku drew a crow.
This is the very bad crow. It flew off with my idli.
The crow must have been very hungry.
Akku drew her teacher.
This is my teacher, Amala Miss. She helped me up when I fell down and then she hugged me.
That's very nice of her.
She pinched my cheeks. I don't like it when my cheeks are pinched.
Uh-oh.
A little bit.
That must have hurt. That's good. See how well you draw, Akku? You're a real artist. Would you like to draw something for Amma too?
Okay.
And Akku started drawing again.
This is a little white mouse. And this is a boat. And this is a coconut tree. And this is a sunflower. And this is your cycle, Appa. And this is a dog. And this is a frog.
In no time, Akku had forgotten all about the stupid brick which made her trip and fall, and about the idli stealing crow. And Akku even forgot about being angry. Thank you.
Friends and teachers,
we all hope you liked our skit.
Thank you, Varnika, Punarvi and Hasanti. That was appealing. It is a pleasure to welcome Mr. Pavan Chand, the Director of Delhi Public School Vijayawada, who constantly encourages us in all our endeavors. We request you, sir, to address the audience.
Good morning, everyone. Firstly, I want to thank Ms. Anne, Ms. Isabel, and Ms. Revati for taking the time out of their lives to come and be with us today. It's very grateful to have you here. And also the students who performed well. Like I know it's not the same as being in the school and watching them live, but this is the best we can do right now, and I thought they did incredibly well. Also, I'm really happy a lot of students are still watching. Like I know there were a lot more people at the beginning, but this is expected. And I'm happy people are still watching and taking the time to appreciate what our teachers put up for them and our students and our guests who spoke beautifully. I thought what Miss Revati was talking about our reality and how we perceive it, it was very interesting and it gave me a lot to think about. I want to reiterate again about how grateful I am to have all our guests come and speak beautifully. And I don't think I can add much more substantial compared to what they were saying. So finally, I just want to thank the English department for getting this whole thing together, like you do every year, and I'm grateful we're doing it. It doesn't matter if it's online. It's good. I'm very grateful you're still doing this. Yeah. Thank you for having me speak. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. As a part of the different competitions and programs conducted on the occasion of International Literacy Day, the Department of English conducted a poetry recitation competition on the topic literacy for students of class 11 and 12. Best 2 poems are selected and are presented here. I call upon Ms. Shrija Rashmita of class 11 to recite the poem.
A weapon that can change lives. An alphabet is like a mother that bestows life to your feelings. It's like a father that teaches you to lead a beautiful life. It's the enlightenment in the world of darkness called ignorance. It paves the way and makes you walk ahead. It contours the art of your heart. It's the only way in this world that lets you know the meaning of any expression. It gives wings to your thoughts and dreams. It's the only one that shapes the history and culture to breathe. It's the one that shows the essence and elegance of literature. It's the only unswavering and constant thing that masters the life of a human. It's a strength in the heart that comes from the mouth when the salty streams gush down from your eyes. But unfortunately, this mother, this father, this enlightenment, and this strength is not with everybody, though it's a necessity. So let us all provide this weapon of literacy to everybody by educating them to bring out their lost feelings, which remain invisible because of illiteracy, to eradicate the dangers of poverty that they're facing because of illiteracy. Let us all spread a word of awareness to see everybody in this world to be literate, to let them live their lives in the light and let them spread their wings to fly high. Thank you.
Thank you, Shrija. Now I call upon Ms. Jia of class 12 to present the poem.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jia Gyanchandani from class 12A1, and today I'm here to recite a poem titled The Essence of Literacy. What's literacy? It's something that fills your heart with ecstasy. It's a beautiful skill. Your thoughts with creativity, it will fill. It's the hope which lights up the darkness. Your voice with power, it helps to express. It's something which can transform our lives. It's something which keeps us alive. Only 86% possess this talent, but aren't all of us equivalent? We are all diamonds with the same glow. Yet, why does this number remain so low? Let's make this number a century. Let's recreate history. In a world where everyone is illiterate, towards progress, our nation will accelerate. Thank you.
Thank you, Jia. Those poems are perceptive. Now, I call upon Ms. Ambika Govind, a student of class 12, to deliver the vote of thanks.
honorable guests, teachers, and my dear friends. It's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. First off, I would like to thank Miss Anne McCallan for sparing us some time off her busy schedule. Your words have truly inspired us to take up reading. Thank you, ma'am. I would like to extend my gratitude to Miss Isabel Vaz, whose divergent perspectives on the subject of literacy have instilled new thoughts in us. We are indebted to you for this. Thanks are in order to Miss Revati Suresh, whose thoughts have enlightened our minds. We are obliged to our beloved Dean, Director, and Principal for dignifying this event with their presence. Thank you, sirs and ma'am. A special mention to our teachers who have gone the extra mile to plan and organize this event so wonderfully. We cannot forget the pivotal role played by the IT team in ensuring that the program goes on impeccably. I thank them too. Last but not least, I thank all my viewers and my classmates, without whom this event wouldn't have been a resounding success. Thank you very much, everyone, and good day.
Thank you, Ambika. The ILD 2020 celebrations was indeed very rich and full of joy, knowledge, and grace, with the presence of the cognizant and the participation of talented students. With that, we come to the end of the ILD 2020 celebrations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could you unmute yourself, Shanti ma'am? Shanti ma'am, unmute. Unmute.
I sincerely thank all the speakers who have taken their time to speak to us. It was wonderful listening to you. I thank Leena for inviting you all. And I'm really thankful to Akhila and Pannaga, who have done a great job in directing the kit. Though it was online, it had come out really well. I thank every member of my department. I thank the management in particular for encouraging us to go on with this program. Thank you once again. Thank you, children, for your participation. Pannaga ma'am, you can end.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.